In some cases, you can have a graph that's got two nonlinear functions, and that would be something like having a circle and a hyperbola cross, or maybe you have a parabola and an ellipse, and so there's going to be potential for still no solution, one solution, two solutions, but you could also have more than that. You could have three solutions or four solutions. Four solutions might look something like this. If I've got an ellipse and I've got a circle that cross and overlap, notice that they cross in four different places. All right, so that's just one example. So now we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, or no solutions. So that's our possibilities if they are nonlinear functions. The approach is going to be the exact same though, so we have to look at our equations and determine if we want to do elimination or a substitution, and then we can solve from there, or graphing. In this example, we've got a circle, and we know that because it's plus and both the numbers are the same. And then here, because we've got subtraction, we've got a hyperbola. So we've got a circle and we've got a hyperbola, and we want to see what their solution is. And because in this case our equations are lined up, we could probably think of doing elimination. You could do substitution, but that's going to be a lot more work. So in this case, I'm going to do elimination, and make this easier, I'm going to line my equations up. So I'm going to have my x squared, y squared, and 45 stay the same, but I'm going to rewrite the bottom one so my x's and y's are in line. So that's going to give me negative x squared, because this was a negative, plus y squared equals 27. And now I can go ahead and solve. If you remember from elimination, the goal is to have the same coefficient but opposite signs. So a 1 and a negative 1 are opposites, which means they will cancel. And so when they cancel, then I can add the rest. That's going to give me 2y squared. And then I can add 45 and 27. That's going to get me 72. And now this, you can see, is very easy to solve. We divide both sides by 2. And that's going to leave us with y squared is equal to 36. And lastly, we would square root both sides. Please remember, a square root has two answers, positive and negative, so that's going to be plus or minus 6. And remember, solutions are points, so that means we need to take those two answers we've gotten and plug them back into our original equations to solve. And if I do that, let's say I plug in when y is positive 6, then that means I'd have x squared plus 6 squared equals 45. Solve that. We get 45 minus 36. It gets us 9. And if I take the square root, I get plus or minus 3. So I actually have two solutions here. I've got the points 3, positive 6, and I have the point negative 3, positive 6. So there's two answers. Okay. Then I have to do the same thing with the negative 6 that I got from my other y. So I'd have when y is negative 6, plug those into my equation. I get x squared, and then plus negative 6 squared equals 45. Negative 6 squared is still 36. So when I solve that, I'm actually going to get the same thing. Square root both sides, and we get that x is again positive or negative 3. So my last 2 points would be 3, negative 6, or negative 3, negative 6. And so that means in this problem we've actually got 4 solutions. So this means they cross at these 4 points. And you could always go to Desmos and graph this, or graph it by hand, especially since these are pretty basic equations, and you could see that they should cross at these 4 points. If you have any questions about the elimination process, let me know. But that's pretty much it in this section. Here's another example for you to try. Notice that we've got two different, more complex equations here, but if you want to try elimination, make sure you line up your letters as much as you can and then add vertically, okay, after you've made sure that two things will cancel. All right, and if you have any questions about how many solutions you could have or which one to pick, whether it's elimination, substitution, or graphing, make sure you write yourself a note and ask me in class. That's it for this section. Thanks for listening.